Good morning and welcome to the episode of Like It or Leave It. It is May 5th. Hope you guys are enjoying your Friday, getting ready for the weekend. I know I am. Not that I'm insinuating what I'm going to add and do. So, normally I always like to start the show by saying, got a lot of stuff to talk about. And we do have a lot of stuff to talk about. But I've really only got like one subject. Like, this is the LeBron James hour. And I simply was like, you know what? Starting next week, I'm not talking about LeBron. I'll talk about the playoffs a little bit and other things that are going on, but I'm done talking about LeBron. So I'm going to get it all out today. So if you want to hear LeBron stuff from me, now is the time. I'm doing it. This show, all the LeBron James stuff you will ever need or ever want to hear in your life. Taking it all out now. We're going to be doing player comparisons. Where does he rank currently? Where does he rank all time? How do I think the Cavs are going to finish? What's his legacy? All that good stuff we're going to get to. But first, sometimes when people think they have people in their corner, you get really comfortable. You start to think, all right, I've got support system A and support system B. I'm good. I don't have to question them. And it's usually not until they do something suspicious that you have to start to question them. Well, I think LeBron's extremely self-aware in this fact that the NBA doesn't want him to succeed. The NBA is worse off when LeBron is doing better. I think this is part of his sitting out of games, almost kind of manhandling the league because it's a star-ran league and he's the biggest star, taking things into his own hand. People are going to say, what do you mean the NBA doesn't want him to win? He's the most marketable player. Why wouldn't they want their product to be good? Think about it. And I've said this multiple times. We are headline stricken in sports. We are devoid of headlines at the moment. It's not LeBron's fault. It's not the NBA's fault. We just don't have headlines. The NBA genuinely lacks headlines at all right now. This is part of the issue when stars are your main selling point. I think it was brilliant when David Stern first marketed it for the stars be the focal point, the stars be the things people come to see. Worked out perfectly. But Jordan, Magic, Larry, and Shaq and Kobe aren't coming back. And you need those kind of personalities, those kind of players, those kind of indomitable figures, if I'm saying that correctly, to be there. Those kind of presence, that kind of presence to be there if you want stars to run your league and be successful. The current set of stars, they're just not as good at marketing themselves, putting themselves out there, being those kind of presence that those other guys were. I mean, who's the second most advertised guy in the league at the moment behind LeBron James? I would make the case it's Chris Paul because he's in all the State Farm commercials. After that, it's really a crapshoot. You've got Blake doing some Kia commercials. Hell, they pulled Karl Anthony Towns now to start doing jerky commercials. When the guy who's only in his second league is it could be tied for the second most marketable player, something's wrong. Not that anything's wrong with Karl Anthony Towns, but it shows what's happening with the rest of the players. The only headlines that have been noteworthy the last 8 to 10 years, you could make a case they're all LeBron. Let's start at the decision. The decision, okay? That's probably one of the biggest headlines we've had in the last 10 years in the NBA. Probably is the biggest, if you think about it. LeBron-centered. Okay? Cleveland fans being angry, burning jerseys. LeBron-centered. Dallas beating Miami in the first finals. LeBron still ringless. LeBron wins his first title. LeBron wins back-to-back. LeBron loses and is blown out by the Spurs. LeBron makes 6 straight finals. LeBron returns home to Cleveland. LeBron brings first title to Cleveland in over 50 years. I can't think of another headline in the NBA that's been bigger or even in the top 10 or even close to anything LeBron's done. The only exception is Kobe's last game. Kobe's last game is probably the second or third biggest headline we've had that's not LeBron. Second or third biggest headline, including everyone, I'm sorry. But it's the biggest headline non-LeBron. After that, what's honestly the biggest headline that, sticks in your head? Because the quote-unquote... Because, and it's... I would say the Warriors winning 73 games should be that. But what did it get immediately overshadowed by? LeBron bringing a title home to Cleveland. LeBron beating the Warriors. That was bigger headline than their 73 wins. And Golden State's championship season was overshadowed by LeBron losing. LeBron losing is a bigger headline than the team actually winning. The Mavericks, when they won, overshadowed by LeBron, still can't get a ring. The Spurs winning, overshadowed by the fact it wasn't Duncan's got 5 rings, one of the greatest players ever. The Spurs are... I heard someone say the Spurs won a dynasty because they haven't won back-to-back. That's a bunch of bull. It wasn't about the Spurs dynasty continuing. It was, oh, look, LeBron still can't beat the Spurs. Popovich has his number. And then the Warriors beat them, and it's the league is so... They need LeBron to do bad in order for their headlines and their ratings to be good, because that's the only thing people are watching right now. You can't find, unless you're like a hardcore fan, yeah, the hardcore fans are still going to watch, but that's not where you get your great ratings from. Your great ratings come from the casual. How do TV shows do well? They start being very popular, and then not only do you have the hardcore TV watchers, you have the casual TV watchers. 13 Reasons Why. However you feel about that show, it's not a big deal, but the fact is it drew hardcore Netflix series watchers, and it drew the casual series watchers. I don't watch TV. I don't have cable. I do have Netflix, though, and I checked it out, and I watched an episode or two. That's an episode or two I would have never watched on another show. The Get Down, very popular Netflix show. It started getting really popular. People started watching it. You get your ratings and your extreme numbers from the casual fan. And the casual fan's simply not interested in anything except LeBron, and the Warriors have a little bit of hype the last couple years, and then Kobe's final game. When Michael Jordan was successful, his brand, his image, everything was so beneficial to the league. The league loved that Jordan won 3 straight titles. And then when he retired, it was kind of like, oh, what do we do, guys? We just lost our big dude. Then he came back. The league loved it. Won 3 straight titles. Retired again. Michael's headlines and Michael's brand was always good for the league, and the league always endorsed it, and the league loved it. When Magic and Bird were playing, it was great for the league. It saved basketball. The league loved it. With LeBron, the league honestly loves seeing him struggle because that's what creates new headlines. When he first came into the league wanted him to do well. He was the chosen one. He was the next guy. He was the king. 18 years old. He's already 6'8", 6'9", 230, 240 pounds. I don't know his exact weight when he came in the league. He was great for basketball. Then he started getting too great, and they were like, oh, well, the league, we're in this parity thing. We really don't need a dynasty going, but we like the drama you bring with the potential dynasty. We like the drama you bring being the greatest player in the world and can't win, because that brings us money. That brings us headlines. That brings attention. That gets the casual fan. I heard someone talk, it's like, it'd be good for the NBA if the Warriors lose this year because it'd have the same effect when Miami lost in its first season. Not even close. Because the Warriors don't have LeBron James. If LeBron loses this year, the NBA is rejoicing because then they get to drag out, can LeBron take down this super team for 2 more years? And that'll start to bring some casual fans back. That starts to bring headlines back. The NFL doesn't have this issue. The NBA does. The NFL is able to. They don't market. They get to market their stars, but their stars are market worthy, and they are the presence and personalities they bring are far superior to the NBA athletes, unfortunately, right now. The strategy works when it was Magic and Bird, when it was Michael, Air Jordan, and everything he was doing, when it was Shaq, the Diesel, and how big he was, Kobe Bryant, the Black Mamba, and the NBA might just not like the fact they're biggest stars in Cleveland. No offense, Cleveland, but you're not exactly the most poppin' city out here. The NBA doesn't like you, LeBron. So I don't mind that, you want to take some games, miss some games here and there, try to stick it back to the league. You should. If someone didn't like me, I'd probably try the same thing, even if they were my employer. Had to get that out there. I just felt it was I felt it was needed. It was one of those things that if you look at it and you really are objective about it, it makes sense. Like, they're all businesses. They need to improve their brand. It's like LeBron got mad at the beer company the other day because NBA players aren't allowed to market beer. And so it looked like a bad image for him. It was an unwanted headline. That's what all these guys do. That's what all these teams do. They're businesses. That's what they're supposed to do. I'm not mad at either of them. I'm simply pointing out what it is. Get some baseball in here real quick. We got the Orioles beating the Red Sox 8-3. The Rays over the Marlins 5-1. Brewers over the Cardinals 5-4. The Mariners beat the Angels 11-3. I'm sorry, Mr. Trout. I feel really bad for that guy. For to be that great and on a team that bad is just. Reds beat the Pirates 4-2. Nationals over the Diamondbacks 4-2. Athletics over the Twins 8-5. And the Rangers over the Astros 10-4. Got some really cool news I'm hoping to unveil Monday or Wednesday of next week. I've got 2 videos coming out this weekend. I'm really loving this, guys. Like, I'm enjoying waking up, doing the podcasts. Yeah, they're a little bit strenuous on my body. Yeah, but I just do a lot anyway, so it's not that just this is what's making me tired. I'm just trying to do a lot. But really enjoying the podcast. Love the support. Any way to make this better, like, the more support it gets, the more I can do, and the better the whole presentation and product gets. So keep up the support, you guys. Thank you so much for it. I got 4 new subscribers this week. Little goals or little numbers, but we're starting small, hoping to get big. And yeah, I'm just loving it. Product placement. So I always make analogies, and a lot of times I make analogies based on business or based on real life experience. And I do that because there's 3 things I know pretty well. I know sports, I know business, and I know hip hop. That's kind of my life. I don't watch movies. Unfortunately, due to my work schedule, I don't have a lot of time to go out and do as many activities and stuff as I would like to do. I've got a cat that's currently trying to interrupt my podcast. So those are the 3 things I'm pretty knowledgeable about, and those are where most of my knowledge is going to come from. This current one is comparing LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Where do they rank? I think at this point, a lot of people are putting, there's his tail. A lot of people are putting LeBron 2, Jordan 1. And some people are flip-flopping it, but I think the consistent opinion is those are the top 2 guys. I have a slightly different list, but that's just my own personal opinion. Give me a second while I knock my cat off the table. Go. Okay, well, now that's taken care of. So, LeBron versus Jordan. How do you compare 2 guys like this? And I thought about it. When it comes to rap, no one has a better catalog or a better resume than Jay-Z. He's got arguably the most classics, by far the most hits. He's got the best model in terms of how to do it. Like, there's so many guys now who come up and they're like, I'm going to try to do it like Jay. I'm going to do it like Hove, because he showed us the way to do it even back in the 90s. How to not only just be a rapper, but a manager, a mogul, a businessman, the whole thing. He's got it down. He's great. And he's got the talent to back it up. Then there's guys like Nas, who isn't quite the businessman or the mogul that Jay-Z is, or maybe not the model that you'd want to follow, but the talent and the peak performance is undeniable. I'm not going to really go into who my top 5 all-time list is in this podcast, but I'll at least say this. Nas, to me, is the most talented rapper of all time. Actually, I'm taking that back. Apologize. Nas, to me, is the greatest rapper of all time, but I just thought of someone who's even better. Lil Wayne is the most talented rapper to me of all time. I don't care. People are going to sit and say, oh, he's whack, he's this, he's that. You cannot deny his peak performance between 2006 through 2011 and even 2012. You can make the case. He put on the greatest 6-year stretch you will ever see from a hip-hop artist or just an artist in general. That, to me, is Michael Jordan. The most talented, the highest peak performance. I'd also throw Biggie in that if we're talking about rappers. Like, Biggie and Wayne are much more like Michael, whereas LeBron is much more Jay-Z and Eminem. I'll even throw in there. Jay-Z and Eminem might have the 2 best catalogs and resumes of anybody in hip-hop. If everyone has to submit their catalog and resume to the Rap Hall of Fame and say, hey, do I get accepted? Jay-Z and Eminem can put the resume on the table and it's a wrap. They're getting in. They're all-time great players. If LeBron puts his resume into the Hall of Fame, he's in. Doesn't matter. His resume is that great. Jordan puts his resume up, they're just like, we can make a case the first year or first 2 years, and then the back end years with the Wizards, which no one likes to talk about. Little sketchy. Or you put in the first couple years even, couldn't beat the Pistons. But then you sit there and you look at that 8-year stretch of the most dominant. LeBron is on one of the greatest 5-year runs ever. No one will ever top what Jordan did in those 6 years between his 2 three-peats. You just won't. It is all time. It is historic. It is a masterpiece. It is the highest peak or climax of any player in NBA history, arguably in sports history. That's what Lil Wayne and Nas are compared to Jay-Z and Eminem, and that is what Michael is compared to LeBron. I'm willing to concede LeBron by the time it's all said and done, will have had the better career than Michael Jordan. He is not the better player, though. Better player is the peak. Baseball guys, you'll love this. One of the big arguments with Baseball Hall of Fame is it's the peak years. Your WAR. What is your peak WAR? And baseball players, usually when they're up for the Hall of Fame, it's a 10-year stretch. And the guys who have the elite of the elite 10-year stretches look kind of better and more favorably than the guys who just have the long careers and stack numbers together. LeBron, when it's all said and done, will have more points, rebounds, assists. I don't think he'll have more titles. But of pretty much every statistical category, he will be better than Jordan is. Jordan will always have the higher peak. Jordan was at his best, was the better player. That's how I view guys. How are you at your best? At his best, Michael Jordan is the greatest player ever. I think Kobe Bryant is the second greatest player ever. And then I have Magic, Bird, and LeBron tied for about third. Because LeBron's best is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. This is by no means am I shaming LeBron or saying he's not a great player. He's not one of the all-time players. He's on Mount Rushmore, guys. Don't freak out. He's just not Jordan. Jordan at his peak is higher than LeBron at his peak. It's just how they are. Gosh, I can't wait to get hate for that. Oh, you said Jordan was better than LeBron. I'm like, well, yeah, it's almost like he's been the best best basketball player of all time for like the last 20 years. Wow, think of that. I hate how people react to LeBron, but I've already said that multiple times. Do I think the Cavs are going to win it this year? No. I think they are playing I think people are saying the records are actually closer than people give them credit for, and like the East isn't that much weaker than the West. The East is far weaker than the West, and you can see it simply in terms of the record's not what you look at, because the record are when weak teams play weak teams, the records are going to get skewed. When good teams play good teams, the records are going to get skewed. It's not how good you are just by your record. LeBron got credit for sweeping the Pacers, and the Pacers are a shell of the team they were 4 or 5 years ago. They're nowhere near where they were when they were going to Eastern Conference Finals, winning 55, 56 games, getting the number 1 seed in the East. It was Paul George and a bunch of average guys. Paul George played out of his mind, and that's the only reason that series was even kind of competitive. So far, the series is far more competitive than it should have been. It was 16 points over 4 games. Now they're playing the Raptors, and they're going to get credit for sweeping the Raptors. The Raptors are a far drop-off from what they were 3-4 years ago. Every team has a window of about 3 to 4 years. These windows are only broken when you have transcendent players. And I mean truly transcendent players. The Spurs window wasn't close because Tim Duncan was a truly transcendent player. The Lakers window was never really close because Kobe Bryant was a transcendent player. You look at the NFL, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, transcendent players. And when I mean transcendent, I'm not talking just Hall of Fame. I am talking elite 1% of the top 1 to 2% of the guys to ever play the game. That's how you break out of a 3-4 year window. The Pacers and Raptors had a 3-4 year window where they were pretty good. They're not that anymore. LeBron's a transcendent player. That's why his teams can keep playing and he can keep being this great. And their window was not 3 to 4 years. Their window is as long as he is on the court. The Warriors, on the other hand, dismantled the Blazers team. I don't think the Blazers are very good. I think they have 2 really good guards and a really promising young center, but otherwise, they don't play defense. They don't run a highly effective offense. They just have 2 great playmakers. The Jazz are, for the season, the best defensive team in the league, and they're not going to hold the Warriors under 112 points. 110 points, I should say. The Warriors are going to get theirs, and that's how you can tell who's really great and who's not. When a team is built against you, the Warriors people would consider them an offensive juggernaut, despite the fact I think they finished 3rd in defensive efficiency. The Warriors get theirs on anyone. It does not matter who, because they are truly great. LeBron had to struggle, and the Cavs had to struggle against the Pacers. They're gonna destroy the Raptors. I think. I think the Raptors win 1 game at home. But the Warriors 6-0 and the Cavaliers 6-0 are completely different. They're not even in the same league. LeBron, I believe, has 1 more title left. I think he'll get to 4. But I think it's going to be this year goes to the Warriors. I think next year goes to the Warriors. And I think LeBron puts on 1 final superhuman performance in 3 years to beat, I don't know if it'll be the Warriors or whatever team is currently there. If my other video is correct, it'll be the Pelicans, but that's a different story. Put on 1 superhuman performance, and that'll be his 4th ring. But I think he's finishing 4, and that would put him at 4-7, 4-6 in the finals all times. People you love to use the stat, oh, he'll get to more finals than Michael Jordan. Yeah, but if you can't even win, if you're 500 in the finals or under 500 in the finals, what's it matter? Like, like I said, I don't mind if LeBron sits out games because he's trying to stick into the league. That's completely fine. But I hate this logic that, oh, LeBron misses these 8 or 9 games because he plays them on the back end and he's always made it to the finals, so it's okay. Well, I think that's a half-assed way of thinking. And I think it's proven to be half-assed by the fact of these 6 straight finals he's gone to. He's 3-3, which is 500, which sounds pretty half-assed. LeBron is a great player. LeBron is a Mount Rushmore player, but he's not a perfect player, and that's what guys are trying to make him into. He's not Jordan. I personally don't think he's Kobe. I think he's the next guy there, though. I think you could say, I have just a certain respect and like admiration for, and just a different view and mindset of of Jordan and Kobe comparatively to LeBron. I think LeBron is anywhere between 3 through 5. I think he's right there with Bird and Magic, but I think personally Jordan and Kobe are just a tad bit better. I do. You can disagree with me. That's fine. Let me know if you think I'm wrong. I just do. That's my top 5 list. I've got Magic. I've got Jordan 1. I've got Kobe 2. I've got tied for 3rd, honestly, LeBron, Bird, and Magic. I just think that's how great they are. That I don't think there's a third, 4th, and 5th. I just think it's tied for 3rd. But those would be my top 5 players. Last LeBron thing I want to get to. LeBron, not that you're ever going to hear this, but just because I have, or just to the people that root for LeBron or fans of LeBron, I personally am a fan of LeBron. I think he's great. And also to the critics of LeBron James, let's take the time and appreciate him, though. I make those greatness videos. I literally cannot. They are 0 for revenue. Like, I can't get paid off those videos. There's copyright stuff in them. I simply make those videos, though, because I hate when someone can be so great, can be so dominant, can be so life-changing and generational that we just take them for granted. Like, I said I was legitimately sad when Kobe retired. And it makes me, really think to myself, I'm like, man, I wish I had seen that Laker game that I fell asleep for on one too many Sundays. Like, I wish I stayed up and watched that game. Because you're just not going to see guys like that anymore. When LeBron's done, we're not going to see another LeBron James. There's a bunch of guys who are playing like him right now who are like 6'7" and taller and handling the ball and doing things that he pretty much started, or Magic started, he perfected. But we're not going to see him. So I might have critical opinions at times. I like to think I'm objective, but I know I'm a human being, so I'm not 100%. But let's just really appreciate how great this guy is. A dude who's going to be he's one of the 5 greatest players I've ever seen. Who's the most talented player we've probably ever seen. Just a human highlight reel. Has given us hours and hours and hours of entertainment. Has dedicated himself to the point of, like I said, I've always said, he's the greatest role model in sports. LeBron, from me to you, not that you'll ever see this, but thank you. And I think everyone should take the time and say thank you to someone who's just that great. Let's appreciate this while we have it, because when it's gone, and we're all going to miss it. Once again, you guys, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud. I've got another thing that I'm hoping, like I said, I'm hoping to unveil on Sunday or Monday. Depends on if I get good news. But yeah, word of mouth is always also a very appreciated. I always say, let's try to get all these videos to 50 views, but now I'm on a new mindset. I'm trying to get all these videos to 100 views. And not all, I have videos that don't even get 10 views. So think big, dream big, act big, play big. It sounded much cooler when I started it. Think big, dream big. I just made the LeBron James hour. Like, I was so